Okay, it's 5:39 and we're gonna open the regular board meeting. The first thing is gonna establish quorum with the roll call. Mr. Orlando Lopez. Dr. Ariel Cruz, present. Rudy Corona.
Present.
Frutoso Gomez.
Present.
Oscar Medrano.
Present.
Alex Reina. Mario Silva.
Present.
Alfredo Perez. And Tony Torres. Next, we move on to 1.2, the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States and Texas flags, and the invocation.
Well, I needed to read first. Good evening. This evening, we have two students from the high school under the direction of Manuela Lopez, the principal. The first one that's going to be doing our Pledge of Allegiance is Jonah Luna, is the son of Luis and Nora Luna. He is currently a senior at San Benito High School and is currently the Muya Alpha Theta Mathematics Honor Society president. Jonah is also a member of the National Honor Society, Science National Honor Society, Leo Club, and Rho Kappa National Social Studies Honor Society. Furthermore, he is a player for the varsity football team. Jonah currently works at the Whataburger, where he has been since January of 2022. Jonah was selected by the Hispanic Scholarship Fund to participate in their Youth Leadership Institute at the University of Southern California this past summer. After graduating, Jonah hopes to pursue the degree in mechanical engineering at a top Texas university. Doing our invocation is also Alexis Brianna Halomo, is the daughter of Brian and Monica Halomo. She is currently a senior at San Benito High School. Alexis proudly serves as president of the Rho Kappa National Social Studies Honor Society. Excuse me. Alexis is proud member of the Science National Honor Society Leo Club, Business Professionals of America, BPA, and Lower Valley Cotillion. She is also a long-time decathlon member of the ambassador for the Society of Royals. In her free time, Alexis volunteers at the local immigration center and various other nonprofit organizations. She is also part of the Hispanic Scholarship Fund, earning the title of Acknowledgement from their Youth Leadership Institute program. Alexis plans to study physical therapy at Rice University. After graduate school, Alexis plans to work and specialize in prosthesis to help those recovering from losing a limb. Welcome.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening to ask for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Lord, we ask you that you give our board members the wisdom to engage in a meaningful discussion that will guide them to make the best decisions for our students, staff, and community. We ask for those who are present tonight to return home safely. We ask all this in your name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Okay, at this time, we'll have special recognition. And this will be done by Mr. Alex Salinas.
All right. Buenas noches, good evening. Dr. Cruz, members of the board, Acting Superintendent Mr. Perez, and of course to our San Benito CISD community. My name is Alex Salinas, and I serve as your higher education coordinator, or like Dr. Cruz calls me, the college guy. Today we are recognizing one of our students for the following. The AP Scholar Awards recognize high school students who have demonstrated exemplary college level achievement on AP exams. The AP Scholar Awards are academic distinctions that students may cite among their credentials on college applications, resumes, scholarships, and so on. Before I introduce our current students, I do want to acknowledge our class of 2023 honorees that received AP Scholar distinctions were Ms. Cassandra Cruz, Mariano Garcia, Eric Maya, Consuelo Rodriguez, Seven Parrish, and Javier Sosa. These were our exiting students that graduated this past year. They earned AP Scholars. But this year, we're going to recognize one of our own students of the class of 2024. She will be receiving the AP Scholar Award, and let me just reiterate what AP Scholar is once again. It is granted to students who receive scores of a 3 or higher on 3 or more AP exams. The following is this year's San Benito High School AP Scholar honoree, Ms. Solani Hassel. Ms. Hassel will be receiving a stole that we started a tradition last year. This stole, she will be wearing it on her graduation night. It says AP Scholar in gold, since we are the gold standard. And at this time, I'm going to ask the parents to please stand up and get recognized. Best of luck your senior year, Ms. Hassel. And at this time, we're going to have you take a picture with the board and with Ms. Lopez.
At this time, we'll have Mr. Luis Gonzalez from our Family and Community Engagement Department, recognizing some of our community members.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Dr. Cruz. Good evening, Board of Trustees. Good evening, Mr. Perez, our Acting Superintendent, Executive Team, and members of the public. My name is Luis Gonzalez. I'm the Director for Family and Community Engagement. Our department relies on the partnerships and the hard work of our community members, volunteers in our community to give back to our students and to our schools. And so that's what we're here to recognize, one of our partners that has been with us for many years. Over the past 5 years, the First United Methodist Church of San Benito has provided semi-annual shoe donations to San Benito CISD students. The donations are made possible by a collaboration with our church, with the church committee, implementing in his steps and in coordination with San Benito CISD's FACE department. Every event, the FACE department goes out and looks for the neediest of students for each event. We have one in the fall and one in the spring. Over 500 students over the past 5 years have been gifted this kind gesture from parish members from the First United Methodist Church, with special donations made possible by gracious Winter Texans from the Fun and Sun Resort. The FACE department often relies on the kindness of our community for donations for school supplies, clothing, food, and other items that the students and families may need. And we recognize the contribution of school shoes here today. I would like to personally recognize and thank the extraordinary contributions made by 3 kind and considerate ladies that have been instrumental since the very first event. Mrs. Tricia Morrow, Mrs. Susan Thompson, and Senior Pastor Reverend Melissa Nelson from the First United Methodist Church here in San Benito. I would also like to thank the local San Benito Walmart for hosting us at each and every one of those events and for providing the staff we need in order to serve our students and our families at that time. During our recent August shoe drive, we had the largest turnout of all the 5 years. In fact, we have some numbers here to share with you. We were able to serve 82 families in San Benito with 274 pairs of shoes with a total of $5,125.50. That was all made possible by the contribution made by the First United Methodist Church here in San Benito. At this time, I would graciously thank the Board of Trustees for recognizing one of our community partners of the Family and Community Engagement Department, the First United Methodist Church of San Benito. Here representing the church here with us tonight is Mrs. Susan Thompson, a member of the committee and a member of the parish. Ms. Thompson. Again, it's the hard work of the committee, of the parish, of the many contributions made by the Winter Texans from Fun and Sun Resort and all the people in San Benito that contribute to this. So we want to thank them for helping the students and families of San Benito each and every semester that we had for the past 5 years. Thank you.
Next, we have public comment.
The next item on the agenda is public comment. Before we begin, I will remind our audience members of the board's procedures for handling public comments. The public comment portion of our meeting is available to members of the public according to the following. At regular board meetings, the board shall permit public comment regardless of whether the topic is on the item agenda posted with notice of the meeting. At all other board meetings, public comment shall be limited to items to the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Anyone who would like to speak during the public comment must sign in prior to the start of the meeting and list the topics they want to discuss. An individual's public comments on the board shall not exceed 5 minutes per meeting. Please keep your comments or criticism civil and courteous. Please avoid using profanity and refrain from making personal attacks on others during your opportunity to speak. We ask that you do not discuss students who are not your own children. In addition, the participating individual shall adhere to the following. State their full name and what organization or group, if any, is being represented. Indicate the topic about which they wish to speak. Shall refrain from commenting directly to an individual, employee, or public official by name, but may refer to the specific employment area, job title, or the board as a whole, and shall refrain from attacks on individuals. Lastly, if after at least one warning from the presiding officer, any individual continues to disrupt the meeting by his or her words or actions, the presiding officer may request assistance from law enforcement officials to have the individual removed from the meeting. If a speaker is seeking board resolution of a specific complaint, that concern should be addressed through the district's grievance process. District Policy DGBA has been established for addressing employee complaints. Policy F&G is the avenue for filling parent complaints, and Policy GF addresses community member complaints. Grievance forms can be obtained at any campus administration office or at the district central office. This evening, we have Ms. Mary Maney.
Good evening, Board, Acting Superintendent Perez, and community members. I would like to start off with, last week was Security Recognition Week, and I'm hoping everybody had a chance to actually say thank you to our incredible staff that we do have that does security and our police work. It makes a huge difference in our community as well as the safety in our schools. And for people that have never been outside of this area, you really truly don't appreciate just how effective having these people around and the way they interact with our students is. So again, a big thank you to all of our security and police for what they are doing to help make us a safer environment. I would also, on your consent agenda, you have 6.4, an MOU with the STEMS Alumni Association. This is a program that I've worked with for a while. This is where I run part of the STEMS program out of. It is a great benefit. Please do consider ratifying it. It just makes life so much easier. Okay, the begging part. I know it's only September. It is week 7 out of the thing, so Christmas is going to be right around the corner. Think about our mid-year stipend, please. We do kind of like it. We kind of got in the habit of having it, and some of us actually depend on it. And I know it's not in the budget at the moment, but I figure if we start early, we might be able to find it. Okay. On the bad side, it would be really nice if you guys could do some investigation into the CMMR, the TSI money that they come in. We've cut back our TSI testing, which is a prime component of CMMR, to 2 days a week with 2 days of tutoring. And from what we've done before, which was every day, and including on the Saturdays with even additional hours on that. Money is being brought in from it. So the question is kind of where I would be interested in is, why can't we use that money for TSI to continue with it? So again, just something to think about and add to it. And then to end on a high note, Dr. Garza STEAM Academy has gotten a goblin. So they are actually going to be competing 2 weekends in October 21st and October 28th. We will send you out information. Please come and see them. The kids have a ball at this at the elementary level. I know I haven't had much success in getting anybody to come out to the F-24s, the high school race, but if we can get the elementary school people to come out and help the elementary school, this would be really great because they have a lot of fun with it. The first one will be at Sam Stadium in Brownsville, and then the following weekend they will be competing at Vanguard Beethoven in Edinburgh. So again, thank you again for all of our security. Thank you for the participation that people are doing to help support with the Gear Up and all these other special weeks we're having. But again, thank you.
Next, we move to agenda item 4.1, Acting Superintendent's remarks. Mr. Bettis?
Good evening. I am Alfredo Perez, Acting Superintendent of Schools for San Benito CISD. I would like to begin by thanking the board for entrusting me with this opportunity. For however long that I am asked to lead the district, I'd like to ensure everyone that I will do my best to serve all of our stakeholders. Please know that my goal as a leader is always to follow a servant leadership approach. I am confident that I am up for the task and the responsibilities that come with this new role. The fact is that change at any level can cause feelings of uncertainty and doubt. However, in an environment of education, I assure you, and I am certain of this, the education of our children must continue. I look forward to the continued collaboration with my colleagues to ensure that the district continues to move forward. Again, to our board members, thank you for trusting me. I would like to end on a different note. September 15th, 2023, San Benito CISD lost one of its family members, Alejandro Calixto Sierra. Mr. Sierra was one of the district bus drivers and will be missed. On behalf of the board, myself, and all of the San Benito CISD family, we would like to express our sincere condolences to the Sierra family. Thank you.
Agenda item 5.1, the academic health report. Dr. McGee?
Good evening, Vice President Dr. Cruz, Board of Trustees, Acting Superintendent Mr. Pettis. I am here this evening to present the academic health report, and this evening we'll be discussing professional development. I would like to bring up my colleagues for directors, Mrs. Stephanie Ramirez, who is the Director of Professional Development, Ms. Delia Cornett, who is the Director of Elementary Instructional Implementation, and Mrs. Amy Rodriguez, who is the Director of Secondary Instructional Implementation. And we'll all be presenting to you this evening.
Good morning, Mr. Pettis, Dr. Cruz, and members of the board and community. Okay, so to begin with, we'll begin with our back-to-school schedule of activities. So this page right here just kind of shows what we're going to do at the beginning of the school year. This is also the theme that we use to start to kick off the year, which is Adventure Awaits Beyond All Limits, and just trying to set the tone and the idea that the sky is the limits for the students of San Benito. We started off with our leadership retreat, July 18th to July 21st. During this time, we bring in all of our Office of Academic Services team, our principals, assistant principals, our deans, and instructional coaches together during this time. And this is a schedule of what we presented to them during that time. So we brought in Digital Promise at the very beginning. This Digital Promise is something, an initiative that we started with our kinder through second grade teachers, but we know that it's important that the entire district understands what our focus is, so just for the purpose of common language. Then we also went over our special education updates. So we bring in an attorney to talk about any legislative updates in regards to special ed. Then discipline training. Then we also spent 2 days with crucial conversations. We brought in a consultant, and our administrators and campus personnel all kind of role played also having crucial conversations, because when you are in leadership positions, you know that is inevitable. It's going to happen. And this is also something that during the elementary principal meetings, the secondary principal meetings, assistant principal meetings, we will be touching back on that book and continue to practice our crucial conversations. Then we also had Mr. Farias present on the Greyhounds Astra program, which Dr. McGee will be discussing a little further. And then T-TESS calibration. T-TESS is the instrument that we use to evaluate our teachers. So just to make sure that we calibrate and that we're all, when we see a lesson, we're all kind of looking, engaging it the same way. And then we finished off that week with searches and seizures training. Next, we had our new teacher orientation. This, of course, is for first-year teachers and returning teachers to San Benito. Believe it or not, we had only 14 first-year teachers, and we actually had 42 experienced teachers. And of the 42 experienced teachers, many of them were returning to San Benito. So that was really great to hear. But we had a total of 56 teachers, 27 in our secondary level, 29 at the elementary level. And these are some of the activities and topics that included in our agenda. We started off the day with an SBCISD tour of schools. And if you look at the comments in red, I'm sorry, what's not on there? I'm sorry, but there was some really great comments about the teachers really enjoying the tour and watching and kind of learning where our kids really live. You know, some of us that work in the city don't really see what happens when we go visit Bentry and those areas, but I really want to give a shout out to Luis Gonzalez. He's up in the back. He was our MC on the bus, and we use Luis for other things in the district, and he does such a great job with that. And he's true and blue, true and blue, purple and gold. True and true. Sorry, Luis. True and true, purple and gold.
That's Porter Cowboys.
That's right, Dallas. But, you know, I'm really appreciative of Luis. I mean, he never says no whenever we need something, and the teachers really, really enjoyed that experience. And then the agenda was there, other things that we covered, but teachers had a really great time, and those are some pictures of those 2 days.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I like the fact that there's 27 secondary and 29. It's
Balanced.
Balanced.
Yeah. Then the next slide is our district in-service day. So this is 2 days of professional development all day. There's a link to our schedule there, but these in-service sessions are for all of the instructional staff in the district, and listed here are all the positions that are invited to participate. And in order to put this together, it is a big task. It's 2 days. We have close to 100 sessions both days, but I reach out to the directors and the different departments, and they provide input as to what they need for their departments. So it is a collaborative effort. Then this year on our district calendar, we had instructional planning days is something new for our district calendar, which is August the 8th and the 9th. And what we did on those days for our kinder through second grade teachers, we had Digital Promise come in. And Digital Promise uses principles of powerful learning to support educators and learners in creating meaningful learning experiences with technology. And one thing that they did that we appreciate is that they actually looked at our walkthrough form. They also looked at our new lesson plan template and integrated that into their trainings. And the other thing we did too is we've included our paraprofessionals when we have this training too, because we know that our kinder paraprofessionals work with our students too. So, and we also invited our special ed teachers, resource and inclusion teachers, along with the paraprofessionals as well. Then for our 3rd through 5th grade teachers, and then our middle school and high school content teachers in the areas of ELAR, math, and science, we brought in Laying the Foundation. And this came about really because in June, we had invited one teacher per campus to a training for Laying the Foundation, and after the 3rd day, I went to grab Dr. McGee from her office, and I said, you need to hear this. So I brought her there, and all the teachers were saying how they really enjoyed it and how they thought it would be beneficial for everyone else. So really listening to the teachers is why we brought it back for the entire district. And so they were here on the August 8th and the 9th, and then we also brought them back September, just this last Friday. But all the feedback has been very positive. Teachers are looking forward to participating when they come back. So we do plan to bring Laying the Foundation back 2 other times, and 2 other times in the district. Okay. And next, Dr. McGee.
Thank you again. So another exciting thing we're doing with professional development is we always want to be on the edge of innovation and live up to the gold standard. And so as a part of that, one of the things, and I've addressed the board about artificial intelligence before, our goal is to make San Benito a leader in this area. Not only did we have one of the first summits of its kind, the Valley Artificial Intelligence Summit, which has led to some of our teachers being invited to national kind of talks and convenings, but we've also started a Greyhound Astros project. And how this relates to professional development is because teachers, this cohort of teachers, are contributors and thought partners to the integration of artificial intelligence, but the professional development goes alongside that. So we did have a training for our leaders. We think it's important that our principals, as the instructional leaders of their campuses, get the first information about this. And so district and campus leaders did receive that training. We had an introduction meeting. So we have about 54 teachers who decided to be a part of the Greyhound Astro project. And the first system that we brought in is CurryPod, which is a system that allows teachers to save time. It allows for presentations, student engagement. They actually came from Norway. And the thing about it is that we were one of the first districts that kind of believed in them, because going back to understanding, so they've been, again, putting San Benito on display at a national level, saying this district believed in us, you should believe in them. So I think that's very exciting. And then members of the Astra Project, their goal is to provide, as they're receiving this training, to provide feedback and recommendations for AI tools. We do not want to go willy-nilly spending thousands and thousands of dollars for products that teachers don't want. If we have their feedback and they say it's good, they're going to tell other teachers it's good, and that's going to be a return on the district's money. And I have to give kudos to Mr. Eduardo Farias for leading this effort. He's been amazing with guiding our teachers through the Greyhounds Astra project and continuing this to make us the gold standard, not only in the Valley, but across the nation.
Good evening, Dr. Cruz, Board of Trustees, Mr. Pettis, Acting Superintendent. So one of the things that we're very excited about is having our 4th Fridays, which are learning days, specifically led for learning for teachers. And this is coming about, again, we're listening to teachers and taking a look at feedback. And so we work collaboratively as a department to identify the needs, to look at the feedback that we've been receiving, to identify what trainings we're going to be providing our teachers. Something that really stood out was training for our paraprofessionals. So we did have our paraprofessionals, they were included in our pre-K writing training, emergent writing. We also had paraprofessionals working on the bilingual brain training. All the feedback was very positive from our paraprofessionals, and they appreciated it. Also, fine arts teachers were asking for some time and some training. And so we had training specifically for them, and the feedback also was positive. Spanish teachers, PE teachers, and our RTI teachers. So based on the feedback we receive, the trainings and the professional learning that we're providing is guided by that. Also linked on there is the schedule that Ms. Ramirez and her department created for those learning days. Assistant principals, we are very excited this year. We're making a concerted effort to build the instructional leadership capacity of our assistant principals. And so we had our first meeting in August, and we thought it was a great opportunity to give them that time to lead their teachers in learning. And so our elementary assistant principals worked collaboratively. They worked in cohorts. So we had 3 trainings going on throughout the district on that learning day, led by our assistant principals. And they worked collectively to create the training. It was guided on map data. They walked teachers through the different reports and how to use those reports for instruction. They focused on Fundamental 5, best teaching practices. What does this look like in your classroom? And then again, working with instructional resources. What are the resources that you have available to help you? And so what the assistant principals did is they connected the dots. So after each session, they had an opportunity, each section of the training, they had an opportunity to work collaboratively. And at the end, everything was falling into place. And then they were given the time to go ahead and plan based on their learning for that day. I wanted to go ahead and come in, if you can indulge me for a minute, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to our assistant principals. From Angela Leal, we had Ms. Michelle Gonzalez. From Dr. Cash, Ms. Sylvia Garcia. From Dr. Garza, Ms. Courtney Leal. From Ed Downs, Ms. Ashley Camacho. From Fred Booth, Mr. Julius Pardo. From Frank Roberts, Ms. Victoria Lopez. From La Encantada, Mr. Ezequiel Rodriguez, who's doing double duty right now. From La Paloma, Ms. Barrientos. From Rangerville, Ms. Virginia Romero. From Sullivan, Dr. Cynthia Claiborne. And from JODLF, Ms. Nicole Murillo. They did an extraordinary job working together collaboratively. And the 97% plus feedback from our teachers, it was 97% plus feedback that they felt that the learning was relevant to what they do. It was beneficial. They felt it was time well spent. I put a couple of quotes there. I can't see them, but I hope you can. But overwhelmingly, the feedback was very positive, where they were saying it was, thank you so much, this was great. And so it was a resounding success, and all thanks to our assistant principals. Moving forward, we're also working on providing very explicit support for our teachers. And so what we're doing this year also is we're providing, so we have 15 teachers for pre-K through second that are being supported by Ms. Melissa Rodriguez, our early childhood instructional coach. And we have 12 teachers from third through fifth being facilitated by Ms. Crystal Contreras, our ELAR coach. And so these are teachers that are either brand new or novice teachers needing some additional support. And our coaches have come up with a schedule because they're throughout our 11 campuses. They have a schedule that works on a 3-week rotation. And once a week, they go out and do one-to-one trainings with these teachers. So they do overall trainings where they give them all information, but then they go and have very explicit support provided to these teachers based on their needs, because they're teaching different grade levels, they're teaching different content areas, and each teacher has different needs based on their student needs. And so they're going out and doing that. I also wanted to provide some of the topics, the general topics that they'll be going over with teachers. These are instructional, and then they're also operational. You know, teachers need help and support when they're doing grades, how to access the grade book, what resources do they have available, what do I do for accommodations for my special populations. So they don't only do for instructional, they also provide support in the other areas as well.
Hi, good evening. Dr. Cruz, Board of Members, and Acting Superintendent Mr. Pettis. So secondary updates, we are going to be concentrating on 3 main things that will be year-long. The new teacher support sessions, very similar to elementary. Secondary is doing the same thing. Obviously, the needs at secondary are different from elementary. We do have 32 new teachers that have been invited, and as we fill our vacancies, we'll be adding more. There are 20 middle school new teachers and 12 high school new teachers. That includes VMA, high school, and Gateway. We do have workshops every second Tuesday of the month as an overall group, and then throughout the month, our secondary instructional coaches go to the campuses and provide one-to-one support during PLC meetings. I know that our coaches are right now just core, English, math, science, social studies, but they're also providing support to our CTE teachers and our fine arts teachers as we fill those vacancies for secondary. Because we do need to make sure that everyone is aware of how to differentiate instruction, how to support the special populations, and how to lesson plan correctly, right? Then we're also concentrating on assistant principal support meetings. We are having them once a month with secondary assistant principals. We want to make sure that we're growing our leaders from within. We're providing instructional leadership support, and we're actually working on our book study. So we started off with Crucial Conversations at the beginning of the school year. We are going to continue with that book study of Crucial Conversations throughout the school year so that we can work on our leaders, making sure that they are providing customer service, making sure that they're de-escalating situations, and just basically being those guides for other teachers, right? Also coaching our teachers, providing feedback, and so forth. So we do have that once a month. 1 month they'll be working on just elementary by themselves, secondary by themselves, working on their issues, their areas of concern. And then, of course, every other month we'll be working together collaboratively, bringing secondary and elementary assistant principals together so that we can help each other mentor, right? So there might be APs that want to go from elementary to secondary, and we want to make sure we grow them as well, and vice versa. And of course, we are going to be working on CCMR monthly meetings. We've already started at the high school level, and we are going to be incorporating middle school in there. We're making sure that everyone is aware of our state accountability changes, like I've been providing you all each month, making sure that if there is a change that's going to affect our accountability and it's going to affect our ratings, then everyone's aware of how they contribute to that change. And of course, making sure how we know it's going to contribute to our CCMR completion, which will be a big indicator this year as well. And each month we are keeping track of those students that are CCMR complete, what percentage we're at, and how to target the students that are not CCMR complete, and making sure that they're provided with support as well.
So some professional development updates. We have I left the title New Teacher Orientation, but it's New Teacher Support. So along with what the elementary instructional coaches and secondary instructional coaches are doing for our new teachers, we're also going to bring them together. You know, just like we did New Teacher Orientation, we're going to bring them together 4 times throughout the year. And during that time, they get to network with other teachers from other campuses. And during this time, we will focus on trends that are observed during the campus visits by the instructional coaches, and also feedback from the teachers. So whatever particular needs they need, we want to be able to gear our training to what they need. So again, this is open to first-year teachers, but also teachers that are recommended by campus administrators. And those are the dates that we will be bringing them in. Like, we'll have the first one this Friday. If you all are free on Friday, you're welcome to stop by. So another thing that we're continuing is our Capturing Kids' Hearts. As you all know, we have been Capturing Kids' Hearts district for the past 4 or 5 years. We have, all of our campuses have been trained. This year, what we did is we did a campus recharge live during the convocation. And what that is was just kind of like a refresher for all of our campuses that have been through the training. We got lots of positive feedback from the training and from the Recharge Live. Then what we did in September, we actually had 2 Capturing Kids' Hearts trainings, 2 separate weekends. It is a 2-day weekend. Again, the feedback was very positive, and this was for first-year teachers, but also any teachers that had been hired within the 4 years that maybe were not on the campus when their campus was trained. Another thing we just had last week also during our learning day was Culture Shapers. And Culture Shapers is for our auxiliary teams. So we had our bus drivers, bus monitors, cafeteria staff, and custodians all participate in this bilingual Culture Shapers. And the feedback from them was exceptional. And the biggest thing that we heard from them too was just the fact that they were included in professional development. And with that being said, I know our maintenance department was not part of this training, so they're asking for the Culture Shapers training. And when I went to visit and all that, I know some of the people on different campuses and so forth, and they were just so appreciative and really what they learned. And I came back to the main office, and our custodians that are here, both of them came up and just said thank you. Thank you for having this for us and all of that. And one of them told me, no vamos a ser patos, meaning, and it's ducks, right? And because ducks is an acronym that's used during the Capturing Kids' Hearts process, and we don't want to be ducks, right? We don't want to be dependent upon criticism or killing success, right? We want to move forward. So we're looking forward to having our maintenance department trained in October. Then along with this, we have Process Champions training. So these are selected people on the campuses that become the cheerleaders of Capturing Kids' Hearts, and they're the go-to person for teachers that need support on the campuses. We will also be doing some campus traction visits. So we will have our CKH strategists visiting our campuses, kind of observe what's happening on the campuses and be able to provide feedback. Then with our CKH Campus Premium and CKH District Premium, if it's approved, hint, hint, okay. If we have this also, this is additional support that our campuses and districts will have, that our district personnel will have to be able to participate in cohorts to learn and listen to other CKH districts in other states. The next thing we will be continuing is our GOLD Academy, and GOLD stands for Greyhound Opportunities for Leadership Development, and this is for aspiring leaders. So this is for our staff, assistant principals, or teachers that are in a master's program or have completed a master's program in educational leadership that want to become principals in the future. We've been doing this for a few years, and we are planning to continue it again. We'll have our first meeting in October. But during some of the activities that we do, we have speakers. We had a book study last year. We did a book study on Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. Excellent book. And we just chose our book for this coming year, which will be Leaders Eat Last. So looking forward to starting that. And this year we do plan to incorporate some shadow opportunities for our people. Another thing that we did last year for we had our inaugural 3E conference. And 3E stands for Educate, Elevate, and Empower. So what this is teachers teaching our teachers. So we opened it up to the district. We had 17 people that volunteered to present something in their content to other teachers. And they're actually the ones that came up with the title for our conference. Before, I think it was just SBCD Teacher Conference, and they came up, they wanted something nice and jazzy, so it is the 3E Conference. This year, one thing that we want to try to do is open it up to other districts. So that'll be something new. Last year it was just for our people. This year we want to open it up to other districts. So pretty soon you'll start hearing about that. Then another thing that we're going to do this year will be the first year that we do this is a paraprofessional conference. So at some point we will start organizing that for our paraprofessionals. We understand that they are an integral part of our classrooms and our students' success. We try, they work alongside with their teachers every day, so we want to be able to support them as well.
And so as we close, we are big on feedback in the Office of Academic Services. Feedback helps affirm our work, but also helps us refine our work. So immediately, and you've heard this several times, we will send out surveys like nobody's business. And so we sent out a survey, we're just started, but this is from our first Friday. So we already have 200+ respondents, and we sent it out today. So we do plan to get more respondents. There'll definitely be more. 82% of the respondents thought the training was relevant to their position. 86 thought the trainings were well organized. 84 thought the presentations were relevant and engaging. And I really enjoyed that 92% of the respondents thought the presenters were knowledgeable about the topic. So we really did bring in some great presenters. So thank you all for taking on that task. We did want to highlight some of the quotes we've already received. They're truly enjoying it. Things that they incorporate, teaching beyond the STAR and teaching skills to their students. The information that they capture was valuable, but we do not hide in shadows. We take the good and the things that give us opportunities to grow as an office. So as you see here, everybody needs time to plan, create, and enhance learning, student-focused learning. So we've already met as a group this afternoon to talk about how we can incorporate this feedback as we prepare for the next Fourth Friday to make sure they have some planning time. And with that, are there any questions we can answer?
Thank you, ladies.
so much for the
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you, ladies. It's great. It's wonderful work that's being done in our district. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Moving on, we go into our consent agenda for academic services. In order to promote efficient meetings, the board may act upon more than one item by a single vote through the use of consent agenda. Consent items placed on the agenda shall be marked with an asterisk. Consent items are items for which no board discussion is anticipated and for which the superintendent recommends approval. Prior to the time which approval of consent agenda is had, at the request of any member of the board of trustees, any item on the consent agenda shall be removed and given individual consideration. Agenda item 6.1, request approval of the memorandum of understanding between Samuel CISD and Buckner Children and Family Services for the 2023-2024 school year. Questions? Consent. Request approval for the memorandum of understanding between Samuel CISD and Region 1 ESC Child Find Child Serve Agreement for the 2023-2024 school year. Questions? Consent. 6.3, request approval for the memorandum of understanding between Samuel CISD and Tropical Texas Behavioral Health for the 2023-2024 school year. Questions? Consent. 6.4, request approval of the memorandum of understanding between Samuel CISD and STEMS Alumni Association, Inc. for the 2023-2024 school year. Questions? Consent. 6.5, request approval of the partnership agreement between Samuel CISD and Texas State Technical College Upward Bound Program for the 2023-2024 school year. Questions? Consent. 6.6, request approval of letter of agreement between Samuel CISD and Texas A&M Engineering Experiment Station. Questions? Consent. 6.7, request approval of letter of agreement between Samuel CISD and Region 1 ESC Library Services. Questions? Consent. Consent agenda for business and finance. 7.1, request approval of cash account report for August 2023. Questions? Consent. 7.2, request approval of comparison of revenue and expenditures to budget report of August 2023. Questions? Consent. 7.3, request approval of tax collection report for August 2023. Questions? Consent. 7.4, request approval of check disbursements report for August 2023. Questions? Consent. 7.5, request approval to award proposal received for RFP 0823 RSD Recycling Services District-wide. Questions? Consent. Request approval to award proposal received for RFQ 0823 AS Architectural Services for district-wide services. Questions?
Question.
Okay. 7.7, Request approval to award proposal received for RFQ 0923 SES Structural Engineering Services. Questions? Consent. Request approval of interlocal agreement between San Benito CISD and Region 1 Master Interlocal Agreement for the 2023-2024 school year. Questions? Consent. Request approval of resolution to set the maintenance and operations tax rate. Questions? Consent. Request approval of resolution to set the interest and sinking tax rate. Questions? Consent. 7.11, request approval of resolution for tax payment discounts. Questions? Consent. Moving on to consent agenda for administration. 8.1, request approval of revisions to the 2023-2024 compensation plan. Questions? I have a question. 8.2, request approval of window film for entry doors and adjacent windows district-wide. Questions? Consent. 8.3, request approval of board minutes. Questions? Consent. At this time, I'll take a motion to approve all of 6.1 through 6.7, 7.1 through 7.5, 7.7 through 7.11, and 8.2 and 8.3.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Motion passed. And now we're going back to 7.6, the request of approval to award proposal received for RFQ 0823 AS, architectural services for district-wide services. Mr. Medrano?
I had a question, because are we going to approve both of them, Mr. Pettis? Both of them? Because there's two included here. Yes. We're going to approve them?
They'll be on a
I
rotation.
believe Ms. Mata had an explanation.
rotation
We're
basis.
approving both of them.
Okay. Okay, I move to approve. Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve 7.6, request approval to award proposal received for RFQ 0823 AS, architectural services for district-wide services. All in favor? Okay, and then next, we're moving on to 8.1, request approval of revision to the 2023-2024 compensation plan. On this one, Mr. Gallegos, if you can just run through it real quickly. For those that weren't in committee meetings.
You want me to go over the items?
Just the changes.
Okay, yes. So good evening, Dr. Cruz. Good evening, members of the board, Acting Superintendent, Mr. Perez. So let me go over the changes of the compensation plan, proposed changes for the compensation plan. Our first change is going to be a change to just a title change from Secretary CFO, Secretary CAO, to just the Secretary to the Chief. That way, if in the future, we need another secretary, it's just going to be secretary to chiefs. Just like we have for the executive directors for operations and administrative services, it's just a secretary to executive director instead of each title individually. Questions on that change? Then the second change, we're adding a stipend for special ed services. These are for summer evaluations for psychological autism, full and initial individual evaluation, speech, and visually impaired. These stipends were something that the special ed department worked in the summer for evaluations. And then the amount that you see in there is per evaluation, and this will be paid on an annual basis. Ms. Rivas Leal did the calculation of how much it costs to do an evaluation per different categories. So the amounts that you see in there for psychological autism, $1,225. Full and initial evaluation, $630, speech, $490, and then visually impaired, $525. That's the cost per evaluation, and this will be paid on an annual basis. Questions?
This is moving forward though, right? Correct?
This will be for this past summer, the evaluations that they created this past summer, and then moving forward as well.
Okay.
Questions? Okay. The next item, we're adding or we're making changes to some of the grants from the after-school program, or like a grant. The Juntos Prairie View grant, we're changing the amount from the success coaches from $4,200 to $3,600, and then for the mentors from 1,200 to 1,250. Ms. Nancy Casas already spoke with the individuals in charge of receiving these stipends, and they were in agreement with the changes. Questions? Next change is also a part of the after-school program. Ms. Nancy Casas was awarded some grants this past summer. She was able to grant stipends for all the sites, except for the Collegiate Academy. That was a new school. She was not able to grant a stipend for that grant, so she's adding the non-grant site stipend to compensate that individual who's going to be in charge of the Collegiate Academy. Questions? Next change is on the extra duty page of the compensation plan. We are removing the compensation for the administration, Saturday tutorials, and other pre-approved extra duty assignments. They used to get paid like administrators who worked extra duty, $40 an hour. We're removing that from the compensation plan. Questions? And then the last change is we are changing the criteria to the retention stipend, the 23-24 retention stipend. We are adding an additional clause or like a little note to it that says retired TRS employees in a full-time and part-time positions will be eligible to receive the stipend, the incentive. This way, if we have principals that are retired, teachers that are retired, part-timers that are retired, they will be eligible for the stipend as well. Questions? And those are all the changes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gallegos.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I will motion to approve the revisions to the 2023-2024 compensation plan. Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. Moving on to action agenda items, we have 9.1, discussion and possible approval of gifts and bequests for the 2023-2024 school year. Mr. Perez?
Yes, ma'am, I do want to, we do have somebody in the audience that I'd like to bring up from the San Benito Industrial Foundation, and we have David Garza. They were very generous with a donation, and I wanted to ask him to come up and say a few words on it.
I would like to invite these members that are with me. Good afternoon, trustees and superintendent and the audience. It's great to be here. I'm going to cede a little bit of time to Mr. Fry since he's the oldest member of the group. Go over here, man.
And the prettiest too, by the way. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to be here with you tonight. I am Ben Fry, the president of the San Benito Industrial Foundation, and these gentlemen, Pete Claudio, David Garza, Ronnie Garcia, are some of our members. David, if you wouldn't mind reading out the list of our current board members, if you will, please.
Okay. This is for purposes of us needing to wind down an industrial foundation organization. So we need to record in minutes somewhere what we're doing. So the current members of the industrial foundation as of today are Ben Fry, Charlie Hervey, Michael Skeef, David Garza, Thomas Garza, Ronnie Garcia, M.R. Garcia, Sam Boswell Jr., Richard Lynn, Jeff Kellogg, Jimmy Elam, Jeremy Maya, Bill Weekly, Phil Tennant, Bob Guerra, or Rob Guerra, I should know that name, he's my son-in-law, and Pete Claudio.
Okay, thank you, David. I'll just give you a quick rundown or a little bit of a history on the Industrial Foundation. In fact, I was looking at the charter today, and this group was chartered September the 15th, 1964. So we've had our 59th anniversary as of a couple of weeks ago, or a few days ago. Would you pass that too? And the Industrial Foundation was formed by a list of gentlemen that I'm going to read the list to you in just a minute. But the interest came when there was a sewing operation that wanted to come to San Benito to open up a shop to sew blue jeans. So these gentlemen all got together and put their money together. There was no funding anywhere. They just dug it into their pockets and funded whatever they needed to do. They brought the McNair Sewing Company to San Benito in 1964. Their original location And it's hard to give you landmarks because so many of you are so young, you don't remember the old buildings, the old businesses here in San Benito. But it was on the second floor, on the same block as the irrigation district, the water district building is. There's the irrigation district, well, Chevrolet, and then that building on the end was a car dealership off and on for years. It was on the second floor of that building, and they started sewing blue jeans. That evolved into Levi Strauss, which we had a huge plant here in San Benito where our tax office is now. So these gentlemen put this together over the many years of hard work and dedication. They developed the industrial park that we have today with McCoy's, Gilman, Chevrolet, all those big businesses out there. They bought that farmland, subdivided it, built the curb, gutter, streets, sold the lots, and deeded the streets to the city. So those streets for public information belong to the city, not the Industrial Foundation. And that's another long story about the paving going on out there, or the lack of. Anyway, so over time, those lots were sold and developed, and that's where we got our Industrial Foundation. Now, as time goes on, the people came and went. Our last president, who was one of the original members, was actually Dick Welch, who remained president till he was in his late 80s, and been vice president for I don't know how many years, 30 years, I guess. And so when he wanted to step down, well, then I took over. And so he was the last surviving member of the original group. And so now I guess I'm the senior member, like David said, in a lot of ways. But I want to say that these are the gentlemen that got it started, and they did a lot of the heavy lifting. Us younger guys came along later, and we are literally standing on the shoulders of these men who work so hard to bring industry and business, to San Benito. And let me just go down the list right quick. First one is Marshall Story, which anybody graduated in the 60s and 70s remember him as our school principal. R.A. Ewing worked for CP&L, and I knew most of these men and grew up with a lot of their children. A.M. Kelly, who was a business manager for the school district back in the day, and Mrs. Kelly was our 7th grade English teacher, right, she? Paco Betancourt, which we all know that name, had Rick Randy Music and was instrumental in helping Freddie Fender become the star he became. And Adolph Tomei was our county commissioner. Charles Weekly, Chuck Weekly, had Wayland's Furniture. Colbert Glenn, I did not know this gentleman. That's one of the two that I did not know. John Barron, our superintendent of schools, for whom this building was named. E.E. Dawson, who's a local dentist. His office was right next door to the Methodist Church we talked about earlier, where I go to church. Dick Welch, of course, had Welch Chevrolet. Wallace Harwood, I didn't know that man either, unfortunately. W.D. Todd, Bill Todd, was in insurance and real estate here in San Benito. And then Ed Ogden, we all remember the Ogden Brothers store down on Robertson Street. And I think over time, Ed, Ogden, Chuck Weekly, Paco, and I think those three were all mayors of San Benito. And the mayors have always been an ex officio member of this board. So I wanted to give these gentlemen their due respect. They've all gone on to their maker.
Except for Mr. Welch.
No, Mr. Welch passed about 3 years ago. That's what I say. I'm on top of this meeting. Yeah, I am the elder. but over time, over all 59 years, we're able to accumulate a very, very healthy nest egg because the hard work started with these gentlemen buying and selling property. And so this current board has decided that instead of spending money to develop more property and go from there, we are going to establish a foundation, and it's already in the mill. We haven't got all the legal work done, but we're depositing our money in a trust account, and then when that gets settled legally, then we're going to establish scholarships. Now, we did, Dave, why don't you talk about the other one we just funded first?
Well, we just funded, and that's the acceptance you're doing tonight, a $50,000 donation. The intent of the Industrial Foundation and the mission that this man had, we feel was fulfilled. We are just now sitting there with this money, and we wanted to do something that was part of their mission, which was also educating and providing opportunities for residents of San Benito for better employment. And it's not, you know, if you look here at the front, all four of us were sitting there at one time or another, and at one time, all four of us were there together, you know, as school board members. So it was a real easy decision for us to know what we wanted to do with this money and the lives we wanted to impact, which was the children from the school district of San Benito. We had many other educational groups come to us asking for money. Everybody would come ask for money, for that matter. But we're in the process, well, the $50,000 is to be used and distributed to the kids from 2023 that graduated in the same manner as which you already have provided scholarships for. We're not telling you how we want that distributed. Moving into the future, we are working and developing a policy statement that will go along with the wealth management account at a local bank institution that will lead them and tell them what they need to do and how they need to distribute the money. There's over $800,000, right?
Yes.
In the account already deposited. It's in a wealth management account. We hope that this account grows in the future. And, you know, the intent for us to do is to do $50,000 a year until it runs out, or if the economy does well, the wealth management account does well, it could grow to millions of dollars in 15, 20 years, okay? So if that does happen, they would have to dispose of 5% of whatever a dollar amount is in the account. So, you know, I mean, as it grows with time, there's more opportunities of more dollars to be coming in. The caveat in our policy statement is it needs to be matched by resources in whichever way you need to do the school district. You know, if you need to have golf tournaments, fundraisers, whatever, the dollars we give you need to be matched by someone. And in this case, it would be you, and we are matching what you did already, you know. So the money's already deposited. It's already there. We're in the process of winding down the operations of the Industrial Foundation. You know, it's going to be turned over to Texas Regional Bank Wealth Management Division. They will have the policy statement that we create and approve as a board, and that will allow you to get the $50,000 a year, and if it grows, it could be more, you know. So we ask that you include the two lists of people that we gave you, the originals and the current ones, including Mr. Pete Claudio. I don't know if I mentioned his name. You know, I did, right? Yeah. So, you know, he reminded me because there was another list and we didn't have him on there. But anyway, just for the purposes of keeping our paperwork in order and allowing us to close down this foundation and allowing us to be able to continue doing work without us not having to work and meet. Okay? I mean, we have meetings and meetings, and you know, sometimes we have difficulties getting people together because everybody's everywhere and busy. But this way, you know, the students from San Benito will benefit everyone, hopefully encourage some of them. When I was on the school board, one of the things I wanted to do was an education foundation. You still need to do it? I still volunteer to help with an education foundation. And I don't know about these other guys, but I would be willing to work and do something to help the kids in San Benito get a better education and a better shot at a good quality of life, and then, of course, hopefully coming back to our area. So I don't know if you have any questions of us, but...
I have no questions, but I do want to thank y'all for this incredible opportunity for the students of San Benito now and in the future. Like y'all mentioned earlier, you stood on the shoulders of giants by these lists here, and we, like you said, y'all sat here and we sit on the shoulders of y'all, and, I mean, Mr. Fry, Mr. Garza, you know, y'all are probably one of the big influences. I went into pharmacy to get my education, and if that's what we can do for the future of San Benito, just inspire them to go on, get their education, come back and give back to the community. We're all in it together, right?
Thank you.
So thank you so much for
Thank you for,
everything you've done.
thank you for your
I got a
contribution.
couple of things here. I'm sorry. I'll left two people off the original list. And you notice when you look at this list, what jumps out at you, this was typed on a manual typewriter. Right over here and where the Chamber of Commerce building was, where the museum is now.
Can we take
So
a
that's
picture with
why
you
these
guys?
What's that?
Can we take a picture?
Sure, okay, a couple more names here, please. W.W. Kennedy, Bill Kennedy, ran Coastal Engineering, which is catty-corner from where Firestone is now. That huge building used to be a big operation. And then K.N. Jack Cook was with San Benito Bank and Trust. And so what David was alluding to, and I want y'all to understand this, the idea of this foundation is we're gonna give a fixed amount, a fixed percentage of the growth every year. So everything works like we hope it will, and if we give you 5%, but the fund is gaining 7 or 8%, well, then the fund continues to grow, as David said, and this fund will go on in perpetuity. It'll never end. And that's the idea, that we're not gonna spend the nest egg, we're just gonna spend one of the golden eggs that comes every year. So,
one of the scenarios that was presented to us in this account as a possibility, they give you the high and the low in between. But one of them was that in 15 years, the account would grow to about $4 million after us giving on a yearly basis of $50,000. So you take 5% of 4 million, that's gonna be $200,000 a year that you're gonna have to worry about fundraising to match.
yeah, y'all have to imagine, fundraise every week.
Let's pray that it grows. Let's pray that it grows.
There ain't no free lunch. There ain't no free lunch, okay? Just know that.
Thank you so much.
Do you have any questions? Any
No,
questions
just
about?
thank
how
you
this-
so much from this board and from our community, from the students. We thank you. God bless you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, and thank you. Sure. You guys want to say anything? Pete? I know you guys don't.
Just real quick, and you know, like Dave said, we served on the school board, we've been in your shoes. If somebody gave us $50,000 a number of years ago, I mean, that was like, what, 200,000 in today's money? But the Industrial Foundation was created, you know, you heard the San Benito Industrial Corporation, the EDC, that is meant to bring in business. That's what the original intent was, because that was the EDC before DDC. So, I mean, I got to hand it to the gentleman that started this. I actually took over from Mr. Welch. He was the last member, the original member. And so I'm actually sitting in his spot. So talk about shoulders to stand on, you know. I mean, so anyway, you know, hope it be to good use. And thank you for your reception.
Let me say one thing real quick.
Be careful.
Go ahead, come on. I just want to point out something that we are kind of also vying for here. All of us up here have had opportunities to go somewhere else other than San Benito to make our living. And none of us did. Maybe for a while, came back. But we all left town to go to school. Not yet. Well, yeah, that's right. I've been trying to move for a long time. They won't let me. But that's what we're looking for also, just so you can keep in mind that we're kind of trying to help the kids that are here, that are open-minded to come back here. That's what we need to continue to develop our community, is to invest with our kids that are getting educated. That's it. Thank you. started? No?
Okay. I'd like a motion to approve the discussion and possible approval of gifts and bequests for the 2023-2024 school year.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
All those in favor? Motion approved. Moving on to action agenda item 9.2, discussion and possible approval of budget amendment, of budget amendments for the 2023-2024 school year. Mr. Bettis?
Good evening, Ms. Mata. You have
If you've reviewed the budget amendments on the attachment, if you have any questions?
no.
Any questions? Okay. At this time, I'd like to motion to approve all of the discussion and possible approval of budget amendments for the 2023-2024 school year.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor? Agenda item 9.3, discussion and possible approval regarding purchases over $25,000. Ms. Mata?
Again, in the packet, there were the $25,000 purchases for your review. If you reviewed them and have any questions, let me know and I'll answer.
Any questions? Okay. Motion to approve the purchases over $25,000.
So
So
moved.
move.
Second.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Gomez, second by Rudy Corona. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion approved. Next is the 9.4, discussion and possible approval regarding purchases over $25,000 for Gulf Coast paper. Ms. Mata?
This is the line item for purchase of $26,000, a little bit over, for Gulf Coast.
Okay. Motion to approve purchases over $25,000 for Gulf Coast paper.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Corona, second by Oscar Medrano. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Approved. One, 2, 3. 5 approvals and 1 abstention. Okay, next we go on to 9.5, discussion and possible approval to proceed with the Phase 3 access control door project. Mr. Bettis?
Yes, I believe in the committee meetings, you all were discussed that we're going to go into phase 3 of the access control project. It's a little fancy key accesses that we have now. We did have a grant from Elon Musk that we were able to repurpose the funds to phase 2. And we had a safety and security grant that will cover the cost of phase 3. And after phase 3, we should be done. It'll be complete, so.
Very good.
Okay, asking for a motion to approve, to proceed with Phase 3 access control door project.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Mario Silva, second by Rudy Corona. All those in favor? 9.6, discussion and possible approval of client services agreement between San Diego CISD and the Certified Welding Testing Incorporated Company for welder qualifications and certification.
Mr. Rosa is actually in Washington DC right now, so I believe, Dr. McGee, you have information on this. I know that we use this company to certify our welding for the students that are getting certified at the high school. They check the welds, they make sure they pass, and it gives our students the certifications that help us with CCMR, so.
And this is a renewal?
Yes, it is a
Yes, ma'am.
renewal.
Okay. Any questions?
So moved.
Okay, I've got a motion by Mr. Alex Reyna on the discussion and approval of the client services agreement between San Luis ISD and the Certified Welding Testing Incorporated Company for welder qualifications and certification. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rudy Corona. All those in favor? Approved. 9.7, discussion and possible approval of the college readiness and success agreement between San Diego CISD and College Board for the 2023-2024 school year.
I believe this is also a renewal.
Yes, it is a standard renewal with the College Board that we enter into each year.
Motion for approval on the college readiness and success agreement between San Luis CISD and College Board.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Oscar Medrano, second by Mario Silva. All those in favor? Approved. 9.8, discussion and possible approval to update the Commerce Bank authorization. Ms. Mata? And then we can do 9.92, discussion and possible approval on signature card updates for First Community Bank.
These are to update with Mr. Perez as an authorized approver and removal of Ms. Servion.
Okay. Can I get a motion on 9.8, discussion and
So
possible?
move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rudy Corona, second by Oscar Medrano. All those in favor for 9.8? Thank you. And 9.9, discussion and possible approval on signature card updates for First Community Bank.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Mario Silva, second by Rudy Corona. All those in favor? Moving on to 9.10, discussion and possible approval of revision to the organizational chart. Mr. Bettis.
This is an update to the organizational chart, 2324. I think a month or two ago, we had a change in title for one of the positions that became Chief Technology Officer. That was not on the original organizational chart. So we went ahead and separated the Chief Technology Officer. And then we had an Executive Director of Student Support. It became just a Director of Student Support. So the people that had fallen under that position, I have moved over student success to the superintendent, instructional technology to the chief technology officer, technology to the chief technology officer, and after-school program to the superintendent, and then guidance and counseling will be under Dr. McGee. So it's just to include all of the directors and executive directors that we have in the district.
Okay, discussion and possible approval of revision to the organizational chart. Can I get a motion? Second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Mario Silva, second by Rudy Corona. All those in favor? 9.11, discussion and possible action to authorize payments to KCI, Robert Kistner, and structural forensic groups in amounts not to exceed the local limitations.
Question. Can someone explain to me this item and why it's on the agenda for today,
Yes.
please?
Okay.
Board members, I am Baltasar Salazar. I'm the attorney that's representing the district in both the natatorium and the PAC. And this has already come before the board. The previous superintendent had already approved it. The board's aware of it. These three companies are all working on the remediation. And we were not sure if it was going to go over the $25,000 mark, but out of an abundance of caution, we wanted to bring it to the board so there would be full transparency as to what the remediation cost would be at a later date. And on that same note, I just want to let the board know that I've had discussions with the companies that I feel are responsible. And we have been told, and I'll get it reduced to writing, that all of these expenses, we're going to ask for reimbursement. And they have indicated that they will reimburse us for any remediation attempts that we have. So we're keeping a tab on these. But these are the same companies that we've had out there. They've been working with us for about the last 2 months. But because the total may go over 25,000, I spoke to Mr. Perez and to Mr. Torres, and I thought that it's just out of an abundance of caution, it's better to be transparent and not have to come when it's 26,000.
Could we discuss this in executive session?
Yes, sir. I'll be available for an executive, but that's the transparency part of it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Salazar, but we're going to get something in writing before any disbursements on payments will be done, correctly?
Well, I'll discuss that in executive session, how that would work, but there is a mechanism for us to address that issue.
I move to discuss this item in executive session.
I have a question.
Yes.
Question, please. Did they give this in writing to us, that they're going to refund this monies? Do we have it in writing?
Like I said, these are discussions that they've already committed to, and each entity is keeping track of excess cost. And we have discussed that with both the owner of the company and also with their attorneys, and they have indicated that they'll be responsible.
Have we discussed this, of any of these items going over the 50,000 threshold mark? Isn't there don't they have to submit an RF?
No, because these projects have already been approved, and one of them, the KCI, is a survey which falls under architectural services.
Okay.
I mean, engineering services, and you don't have to do an RFQ on
Yeah,
it.
those
And then
personal services,
the
yeah.
structural engineering also is an engineer, and it doesn't fall, you don't need to do RFQs. So none of them, you need to go out.
Professional services.
They are.
They're professional.
engineering services, so
Yeah.
you don't have to bid them out.
Okay.
The district has that.
I have a question for you.
Just
Mr.
wanted to make sure.
I have a question, Mr. Salazar. So you say that we'll get reimbursed? That's correct. So if we're gonna get reimbursed, why do we have to pay upfront? If they're gonna give us the money back?
I'll discuss that mechanism in executive session as to how that's gonna operate. And again, it's not to pay, it's to get approval so they can continue to work at some point.
Okay, at this time, there's a motion to move agenda item 9.11, discussion and possible action to authorize payments for KCI, Robert Kistner, and Structural Forensic Group in amounts not to exceed CV limitations to executive session. Can I get a second?
Yes, second.
Okay, so that will be moved to executive session. Okay, can I get a show of hands for all those who approve to move this to executive session? Okay, motion approved. 9.11 will be moved to executive session. And now we're going to move into executive session. In accordance with Texas Government Code, the board may move into closed session for the following reasons. Section 551.071, for the purpose of a private consultation with the board's attorney on any or all subjects or matters authorized by law. Section 551.074, for the purpose of considering the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, or to hear complaints or charges against a public officer or employee. It is 7:07, and we're moving into executive session. It's 9:01 PM, and the regular board meeting will come to order. .3, employment resignations, retirements, and terminations. Mr. Perez?
I recommend we approve the employment resignations, retirements, and terminations as we discussed in closed session.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Fructuoso Gomez, second by Alex Dana. All those in favor? .4, discussion and possible action on superintendent employment agreement / contract and evaluation.
I move to accept the superintendent's resignation and resignation agreement as discussed in executive session.
And retirement.
Retirement. Retirement.
So move. I'll second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Silva and second by Rudy Corona. All those in favor?
I need to say a statement.
On behalf of the board, Mr. Oscar Medrano will be.
I voted for.
On behalf of the board, Mr. Oscar Medrano would like to say a statement.
For the record, I want to thank Ms. Silvion. I voted in favor of it. I don't agree with it, but I want to thank Ms. Silvion for all her hard work that she did for our district and for the students, and we appreciate her. And good luck in all your endeavors. Thank you.
Okay, we have to go back to 9.11 regarding the discussion and possible action to authorize payments to KCI, Rabba Kistner, and Structural Forensic Groups in amounts not to exceed the limitations.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Gomez
Second.
and a second by Mr. Mario Silva. All those in favor? I move to adjourn this meeting at 9:03 PM. All those in favor? Meeting is adjourned.